Hello and welcome to this News 9 special. Now, the decision of the Union Cabinet to clear a legislation that gives a woman a share in her husband's inherited or inheritable property has sparked a huge debate. Well, is the new law more women-friendly, or was this a change that was long overdue? Well, this is the topic that we are going to be discussing today. A wife will now get a bite of the hubby's property, and this includes the ancestral, inherited or inheritable property as well. Well, this of course has sparked off a huge debate, with people even taking to social networking sites to go ahead and talk about the matter. Well, of course, this is a debate that's been sparked off, and this after very recently the government has gone ahead and given a nod to it. But the fact remains that the quantum of property that will be inherited by the woman who's getting divorced will be dependent on the judge. What is your take on the matter? Do you feel that this new law is more women friendly, or is this a change that was long overdue? Share your views with News 9. Call us on 080-2236-0304 or SMS on 5600-6890 with your thoughts. Well, to discuss more on this right here in the studio, first up we have Mr. Kumar Jahgirdar of CRISP, who works for men who have been affected because of divorces. In fact, that's what he fights for. Second, we have Mr. Deepak, who is a victim himself. Thank you so much for joining us here. And third, we have Mr. Virag Dhulia, who's the head of general studies at if you could just tell people.
Research.
Okay, so what do you do basically?
So the Confidare is the first ever men's rights community center that has been started in India, and it has been started with an objective to support victimized and distressed men, to give them guidance and coaching when they face crisis situations in life, especially in their marriages. And we have been operating for the past 2 years, and a lot of people have benefited from our services. We also run a domestic violence shelter for men who don't have anywhere to go, face violence at home and can't stay anywhere. They come to us for staying in that shelter. And also apart from supporting victimized and distressed men, we also indulge in conducting research on what are the laws and social attitudes that affect men adversely, what are the problems and issues that are faced by men, and create awareness about the same in the society, lobby with the government and the media for the same.
Right. Well, we'll also be joined in very shortly by Ms. Pramila Nisargi, who is a women's right advocate. She will also be joining us here in the studio. First, I'd like to ask you, Mr. Kumar Jahgirdar, do you think this is a step in the right direction?
This is not at all a step in the right direction. This is not family friendly act. The thing is, it is more towards impressing the women organizations to ask for the rights. What about the duties? In fact, the worst affected, see, a family consists of husband, wife, children. So, and there is nothing to talk good about the husbands. It is anti-men. What about the children? There is, we are fighting for children. 40% of our country, is below the age of 18. What if the father and mother, they divorce, and the 50% of the ancestor property goes to the wife, and this 50%, if she misuses or marries again, or the stepfather takes away, what about to the best interest of the children? Because this is the heritage, we have got that the property of the ancestor should go to the children. Now there is no guarantee the children will get. In this fight, I think the children are the worst affected.
Right. What is your take on this? I mean, given the fact that you fight for men, just like Mr. Kumar Jahgirdar, what's your take?
See, first of all, I would say that this bill is totally unconstitutional. Reason being, there is a provision in this law by which only a wife can oppose the divorce, husband cannot. We have a provision in law called audi alteram partem, which basically says that everyone must be given a fair and free chance in the case of trial before the order is passed. And as per Article 14 of the Indian Constitution, if you see, equality before the law is guaranteed in the Constitution. But today, we are seeing that a bill is being passed where it is codified that a husband cannot raise a voice against the divorce petition. He cannot oppose. So, from that standpoint, this law is unconstitutional. Secondly, what we are saying that merely because a person is married, he stands to lose his property. Whether the marriage is of 1 month duration, 2 month duration, 10 years duration or 20 years duration, it makes no difference. There is no proper way by which the economic contribution of a wife is being calculated as to how she is contributing towards the property. No one can contribute into building a property in just 2 months. These factors are completely being sidelined. government is not coming out with the proper clauses as to which property will be considered, how it will be divided, what are the what will happen with the loans and liabilities on the property, and what if there are like property has been acquired post marriage, pre-marriage. No clarity is there. Second part is, why should I part with my property just because my marriage did not work? Very recently the central government has passed an order which says that backdated promotions will not be given any longer, which means they are saying no work, no promotion. Same here, no work, no property. If one does not work towards building a property, why should one get a right?
Okay, but what about the cases? I mean, you're talking about a certain section, but there are so many women who are divorced, they are left with nothing, they're not economically, they're not financially stable at all, cannot stand on their feet, and then they're thrown out of the house. They've been living in their husband's house after they get divorced, they have nowhere to go. What about in those particular cases?
I'm coming to that point. See, first of all, when we use language like they're thrown out of their house, it actually creates a prejudged notion that they have been thrown out. What if the woman leaves willingly? We don't know. Second thing is, where was he staying?
No, but there are a lot of cases where this happens.
Where was he staying before the marriage? Was he staying on roads? No. What about her right in her ancestral property? Why are we forming every law that just targets the husband? We just form every law to bleed the husband financially. I don't understand this. Take away husband's property, take away husband's money, put slap cases on husband. Everywhere we are just targeting husband. We are making marriage as a crime for Indian men. I don't understand why we are having such a bad social mindset wherein we are just targeting husbands for no fault of theirs. You look at the suicide statistics. 65,000 married men commit suicide every year compared to 32,000 married women. Who is going to talk for those husbands? Why are those husbands committing suicides? Has anyone ever tried to look into those issues? Today, if a husband walks into a police station with a complaint against his wife, he is ridiculed at.
But at the same time, if you compare the number of dowry deaths to, don't compare women's suicides, compare dowry deaths to it.
If you're talking of dowry deaths, then let me tell you, the very definition of dowry death is flawed. It says that any unnatural death within 7 years of marriage is called dowry death. Then how do you differentiate between how will you determine
that? See, that is a problem with the law, but the fact remains that so many cases come to light.
If the problem is with the law, then the statistics collection is also a problem.
I got some statistics for you. See, as per the NCRB, which is the officially run by the Home Ministry, National Crime Record Bureau, 98% of the cases which are booked under Section 498A, which is the Dowry Act, are proved to be false cases and the accused is acquitted. Okay, this is on record. Okay, so we can see number of cases which have been filed just to take vengeance on the husband and his family. At the end of trial, it takes 5 to 7 years for a trial to end, and then they prove to be innocent. And there is no opposite cases for the lady who has put a false case that to give punishment for her. This man, once the complaint is filed, the lady walks out. The matter is between the state versus the accused. So this man will be, the entire family has to go and come to this thing, and where is the justice? So I feel that this 498A has to be immediately scrapped. The way number of cases, the suicides are going on, and everybody knows the misuse is more than the usage. So this dowry death, which is suppose she dies of mental problem or some other problem with extramarital affair, it is taken as a dowry death, because the fact is that within 7 years, if unnatural death is counted as dowry death, so the husband may be actually innocent. So for that reason, he has to stay in the jail, and to come out it takes so many years.
And another thing is, where is the section where a man can file a complaint against his wife? There is no such section. When we do not have parity in law, how can we talk about numbers? 65,000 married men are committing suicide is not a joke. So many men commit suicide. Why do they commit suicide? Because they don't get a hearing anywhere. You have raised the issue of dowry deaths. Now let me tell you, they are saying unnatural death of a woman within 7 years of marriage. Within 7 years of marriage will be typically less than the age of 35. It's anyways unnatural death. Anyone dying less than the age of 35 is anyway an unnatural death, because natural life expectancy is around 65 years. So you are saying that any woman who dies is going to become a dowry death. Then where is the need for trial? At the very onset, we are saying it's a dowry case. So how do we know whether the case is true or false? Second thing is, there is no National Commission for Men, there is no Men Welfare Ministry, there are no funds allocated to study the problems of men. Without considering the problems of men, we are just going on making one after another law which is targeting men, and this is actually increasing the rate of crime.
Right, but very interesting you would bring up the National Commission for Men. Nothing exists because at this, in fact, as far as this particular bill is concerned, the Union Law Ministry wanted to give a 50% share to women. But it was the Women and Child Welfare Department that came ahead and said, no, let the judge decide how much should go. So what do you have to say about that? I mean, given the fact that you would assume that the Women and Child Welfare Department would be happy with a law like that, 50%
They
of the
are
property.
very well aware.
We can interpret like this. They are not happy with 50%. The discretion normally should be, against taking off the entire money. 50 doesn't mean it should be only less than 50. It can be more than 50 also. So this discretion is given to the court because there is a lot of sympathy for the wife side of the story. So the courts will be very pleased to grant that's thing. What about the the unmarried daughters in the family? They also have got a right in the ancestor property. No, there is no discussion. Only wife is considered as a woman for the system. For the now a daughter's case or a sister-in-law's case is not taken seriously. It's only the daughter-in-law's case which is taken seriously and exaggerated in such a way that she is the actual victim. What about the mother-in-law? There are so many mother-in-laws who are suffering. She has contributed 30 years of her life, for the family, and just because she is running a good family and she didn't go to the court and fight a divorce, she won't get anything. Whereas a new daughter-in-law was just arrived. About 2-3 months she stayed and says, I need property of the ancestors. What about the sacrifices made by the mother-in-law? Where is the talk on that? So
another thing is, like, we are saying that men have properties so they can give properties, but our properties built overnight. No, men don't get properties just like in lottery. They work hard, they build their properties.
We're going to discuss about that and a lot more. On the other side, we're going to be joined in by Ms. Pramila Nasargi as well, but we'll be right back after this very short break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. Well, we're discussing about the right to inheritance in her ex-husband's property. This is what will most likely become a law very soon. It is something that will be put forth in the monsoon session of the Parliament starting August 5th, and most likely it is going to get passed. But what is your take? Do you feel that the new law is more women-friendly, or is this a change that was long overdue, or whether you feel that this is something that goes against men? Call us with your views on 080-223-60304 or SMS on 56006890. Now, to discuss more, we have a colleague Bansi joining us here in the studio. We also have with us Ms. Pramila Nasargi, who is an advocate and also a women's rights activist. Now, Ms. Nasargi, everyone here feels that this will be an anti-murder law completely. They feel that it will go against men in all ways possible. What is your take on this bill?
Not correct. There should be something good. They must think good for the ladies. I am not concerned with whether it's women friendly or man friendly. It is a society friendly. Safety of women and safety of the society and safety of the family. That is what is contemplated under this. See, in America and other places, it's already come. It is in existence for long years. It's a man's property or the women's property at the time of divorce. It is divided. No one is grudging about it, and when our own people, when they go to England or America or other places, in America as it is, they are having it. They don't grudge there. But when we come to India, we see there is some sort of block in the minds of the men. Mindset, it has to be open. They must look at the society at large. They must look at the safety of the society and the safety of women and safety of family. That is what has to be looked into. They should not look with the X-ray eyes. They should not think that it is ours. It is the ego. That's the problem with all our men. We have to remove that ego and see that they also see what is right in the society.
Would you agree?
I want to say here one thing. As far as the US laws are concerned, they are not as bad as the Indian bill is being proposed. Because there the joint property is concerned, and only the property which is built during the duration of the marriage is concerned. The duration of marriage is taken into account. Once the property division takes place, then there is no maintenance, alimony or child support exclusively built into the law, and there are prenuptial agreements built there. That is, at the time of marriage only it will be decided what is going to be the state of the property and the assets should there be a separation in future. These things are missing in India. We always cherry pick laws from West which suit our